Hello everyone, I'm David Chaikin, a volunteer for the Minnesota chapter of the National MS Society. We all know how multiple sclerosis tries to limit us and stop us from moving. Our chapter exists to help us see that we keep moving. So now I'm going to tell you my story of how the chapter keeps me on the move. My story is called On the Move, a poem in iambic pentameter. I'm really not a poet, but if I must confess, I'll tell you how our chapter keeps me on the move with my MS. For 30 years I've struggled fighting this disease, but the limits just keep on coming, progressive if you please. When I was first diagnosed, it was hard for me to see how MS could slow down a very healthy guy like me. I put my body to the test by serving in the Marines and by running in 2 marathons through urban and rural scenes. The MS virus slipped into me as adult life began to blur, that sneakily and silently demyelination started to occur. While my brain was busy thinking about life steps next to take, the nerves inside attacked themselves, leaving scars behind their wake. My left leg tremored and spasmed, at times my left arm too. Numbness and tingling were ever present, but invisible for you. My leg muscles would harden and stiffen, sometimes making me sway. My coworkers would laugh and say, "Dave drank his lunch today." My bladder was affected too, and it was sometimes leaky. I had frequency and urgency, but the stream came out so weakly. And as long as we're talking about my symptoms behind the zipper, I can tell you that yes, I had ED, which made my wife a quitter. Fatigue came upon me suddenly, deep down to the bone. I dragged my bag through airports, struggling all alone. Burning nerve pain gripped my feet like bees buzzing in a hive. My body had a lot of glitches as I tried to live my life alive. Doctors in every city gave extensive exams to see if any of them could find something physically wrong with me. A couple of them even had the nerve to say that maybe I should think about seeing another type of PhD, someone they called a shrink. After years of undetected symptoms, I caught a break. Well, sorta. My job transferred me here to live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The land of 10,000 lakes, it was said, but I learned to guess. There was a lake for every person in this state who had MS. I didn't know it then, but I eventually came to see that if you had MS, Minnesota's the place to be. The settlers here were railroad workers and lutefisk eaters too, and it had names like Ole and Lena, if you recall only 2. But my new health plan was good, and much to my surprise, I found a doctor who would listen to me, not just hypothesize. He listened to me loud and clear, slammed the table with his fist. "Aha!" he exclaimed, and said to me, "You need a neurologist." So he wrote me a referral, and I went to see some guy whose name was Randy Shapiro, and he prescribed an MRI. Down inside the tube I went, the sounds around me pinging. But I had headphones on inside my ears, and I heard the Beatles singing. I went back to Dr. Randy, who showed me white spots on my brain's map. He said there's only one more test to do, and that's a spinal tap. When this was done, I finally could receive my diagnosis. Congrats, my boy, you've joined the club. It's multiple sclerosis. I had never known about MS, just about MD. So I thought I was one of Jerry's kids, raising money on TV. There was yet no internet to search, and of course no WebMD. A nurse who saw my troubled face said, "Call the MS Society." I searched the yellow pages because there was no Google yet, and I spoke to a helpful person there who said, "Info you can get." He sent me lots of stuff to read, a whole big box of pamphlets. When I finally got done reading them, I needed aspirin tablets. I learned my disease might become progressively worse, and that there was no cure. I had to find other people with MS to see how they endured. I found a local support group. Before they were called self-help, but the people there didn't touch me much. They only whined and yelped. As years went by, my symptoms got worse. I needed aids for daily living. I came back to the chapter, which was financially very giving. They helped me buy 3 wheelchairs, a Hoyer lift, and standing frame. The chapter staffers help me every time. I'll tell you, they've got game. But I started to feel guilty because all I did was take. Knowing the person that I am, that was a big mistake. Then one day a flyer came with the MS logo and veneer. It said our chapter needed help. It called for volunteers. My first start was a program in which kids read books for pledges. Initially I was nervous, and I'll admit I had rough edges. Speaking to young kids was fun, but I felt I could do more. I joined another program and became a friendly visitor. This brought me into nursing homes, where I really came to see people who had MS and were way worse off than me. Through the years, the chapter's peer visiting program has been rearranged to VIP then mentoring, and I was right there each time it changed. Volunteering was so good for me, I can tell you with all fairness. So next, the chapter got me involved in public education and awareness. I spoke for many audiences and never once was scared. I always had the edge, you see. Just look at my great hair. My symptoms had control of me before becoming more difficult to manage. So I thought, just what can I do to give myself a challenge? I had to step outside the box and try something I could thrive in. My friends thought I was crazy for me to try skydiving. But up into the air I went, to almost 15,000 feet. After flying at terminal velocity, I landed in the drop zone on my seat. The adrenaline rush was so powerful, my body pulsed and shook. And we made a DVD of it so I could show how cool it looked. WCCO Talk Radio caught wind of this disabled guy's flying event. So over to their studio with 50,000 watts I went. But I was a radio rookie and needed help from a real leader. So I reached out to our chapter president, who was then Maureen Reeder. We met for the first time in the radio studio's lobby. When I saw Maureen dressed to the nines, I knew this was no hobby. I put the station's headphones on and spoke into the mic. I was impressed by Maureen's passion, saying MS she really didn't like. I thought I did okay on the air and that I didn't bomb, so I wrote Maureen a letter and asked for a chapter's public speaking job. Maureen showed faith in me with an opportunity to be a campaign ambassador for community health charities. My symptoms went from bad to worse, and I faced the reality of ending my 25-year business career and going on long-term disability. The chapter's social workers helped me, so caring and so wise. They even helped me qualify for my SSDI. I thought when I'd retired, I'd have nothing left to do, but the chapter's program manager said, "Oh, we've got plans for you." So off to the chapter offices to volunteer I'd go, where I soon became notorious for never saying no. Then one day I received a phone call from Maureen. She offered me an opportunity such as I had never seen. She asked me to join the Board of Trustees and help carry the load. So I said yes, and we headed off as winners, going down Thunder Road. So now I'm called an activist. I finally found my groove. I tell the chapter to follow me. I'm really on the move. But if you truly want to know me and find out why I volunteer the way I do, please come on over, pull up my sleeve, and check out my new tattoo. Thank you.